Hi, everyone, and welcome to Legal Limelight. Today, I have a good friend and fellow trademark and IP lawyer, Anna of Anna Law. I'm really excited to chat with her. She's done lives with me before, but we have yet to do a formal Legal Limelight and spotlight Anna, so I'm really excited to catch up and hear all things. She's made some big moves over the year, and I'm super excited for this conversation. Hey, Anna. Bringing you up. Hi guys, good to see you. Hi Betty. Okay, Anna, are you still there? Hi guys.
Hi!
Hey lady.
Okay, Instagram is working again. Yay. I am great. How are you?
How are you? Oh, I'm living the dream, girl. It's just still gray on the East Coast.
Of course it is.
Where I live.
My parents were telling me how it was almost snowing up north in Michigan. I'm just like, well, same weather in Miami all year.
Dude, like
I'm so out of it. I don't even know like what season it is. It's very weird. It's almost disarming.
how long have you been in Florida?
Around a year. Yeah, I mean, I've been back and forth so much, but mostly, especially during the winter, I'm gone. Like, I'm always down in Florida. So, yeah.
So nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I was saying that you and I have done live before, but I don't think we've done like a formal legal limelight where, we spotlight you and you give us updates. I think the last time we talked, you were studying for the patent bar. Your business has been growing so fast. Like, I'm really excited
I
to
know. It's been
dive
forever.
in.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so give us an update from the last time you took the patent bar, and also if you could talk about the LinkedIn
Yeah,
program that
awesome.
you did.
So yeah, it's been a while. So we now just offer a lot more services, mostly because our clients had a need for it. So that's amazing. Not only are we doing all IP now, I've obviously expanded my team to be able to do more volume, but also getting, dipping my toes into some other areas of law, just very complementary, mostly in the transactional side of things, a little bit more M&A work, valuations, things like that. Just very necessary fields of law, I think, for IP attorneys to either have in their network or for them to at least know a little bit about, get our clients started.
Right? Because valuations, like,
It's not, but there's so many clients that need at least a little bit of help getting started into that, because if you have clients that are looking to exit, which so many of our clients start their businesses with their exit plan in mind, it's really important for IP attorneys to have their head on when it comes to any sort of M&A valuation stuff, so they're not sending their client out into the woods by themselves. They need to, IP attorneys, I think, across the board really need to just educate themselves on it, work, even if you have to work for free on a few cases, learn from the M&A attorneys and the other companies doing this type of work in your area. So.
Oh my God. Yeah, because I do a lot of due diligence, right? But what some of the corporate attorneys say, which is fine, it's their jobs, right? They're IP lawyer. Fill out this form, which is just the IP schedules. Like, literally just fill out the trademarks, the copyright, social media. But I always push back. I'm like, no. I need to see the representations and warranties, the indemnities, your IP definitions. Like, there's so, like, as IP lawyers, you have to advocate for your client. There's a lot of IP issues in the actual agreements themselves, but also, like, yes, whenever you're reviewing an agreement for a client, you should be thinking about, like, the actual value of IP. And even when, you and I are like prosecution attorneys, we can tell clients, these aren't just, these aren't just legal fees. These are assets. Like, they have monetary value attached to them. So how do you feel about, like, clients who come to you, are you proactive in that sense? You wait for them to ask you this?
No,
or are you
I'm
just,
very
proactive,
proactive, mostly because there are so many things that we can do as IP attorneys to set them up for success, so it's not a headache in 5 years. So especially when it comes to, I know you have a handle on this as well, but the international side of things, every country has their own desires about how they want their agreements to be, who needs a wet signature, who needs things undated, dated. I mean, all of this stuff has to go into PPAs or, patent purchase agreements or trademark purchase agreements or business purchase agreements. All of these have to be considered. It's not just filling out that Exhibit A schedule. It's really about making sure that you can do the due diligence. There's so many IP attorneys that have never gone on the ARB website and looked up the history of a trademark or the history of a patent. It's actually mind-blowing to me. There are trademark attorneys who have filed assignments or have filed trademarks, patents, copyrights in the wrong ownership. So all of these things are so detrimental to your client. I feel you need to advise them on the onstart of all this, because I have seen on the other flip side what's going to happen to them in 5 years, in 10 years, if they don't set things up properly. If they let their LLC go abandoned and then try to reinstate it, you know what? They're going to get motion to dismiss on any case. Anyone brings anything to sue. So there's a million and one things that can go wrong with your IP if you don't set things up correctly. And then the main important part is you lose the value of it. You lose your royalties. Your rights are affected, sometimes irreparably. So these are things that more IP attorneys need to be, doing at the onstart, I think. And if you haven't worked on those high volume portfolios like you and I have, it's very hard to just learn that from, taking a course or trying to DIY and learn yourself, which is a lot of the attorneys right now in the IP space. So if anyone does have a very, what they believe is a valuable IP portfolio, just make sure you're working with an attorney that understands all of the nuances of what you need to do now. Set yourself up for success for your exit plan.
Yeah, and there are different types of lawyers for different types of businesses. There are different lawyers for different reasons. So, not everyone can start, and this is what we see a lot of the time, right? When I'm sure, when you take over portfolio, sometimes I just did this, right? Took over a big portfolio. The name was spelled incorrect. So that's the first thing we check for is is it in the name of the right entity? Do we need to do assignments? Do we need to update for clerical errors? But I think you're right. It's important to know at what stage of the business do I pull in a more strategic global lawyer and switch over from, which is fine. There's people who do amazing. They do really well for themselves, but they know their lane. They only do US trademarks. Not everyone wants to be a global strategic or broader IP lawyers. I think it's important though that clients find out from their lawyer, have a real conversation to know their skill sets and their limits, and for attorneys to also communicate that. That's why I'm really clear. We're rebranding and relaunching, but we're making very clear that we're global lawyers for global or global aspiring brands, so that we don't get confused with people who come to us and they know very well what they're getting, exactly. What they're paying for, and why.
It's really good when people stick to their lane and they can do that. I think it's just really hard for clients to understand that distinction. And then when things go wrong and you're doing the cleanup on the back end, why is everything taking forever? Why is it so messed up? So it's just really important. Such a little thing. It's like a 1 split-second decision. People usually hire, whoever picks up the phone first, whoever responds to their email first. But your IP rights, if they are damaged, they can be damaged beyond repair. And, just people need to take really good care as they pick their attorney.
I would love to hear what you do, because that was one of the things that I saw was missing in the industry, is this proactive, preventative, strategic piece. I'll tell you what we do, and I would love to know how you advise your clients. Anna, is I start with a gap coverage. and an IP protection plan. So like I have a big portfolio, and it actually gives me permission to look at all that stuff instead of just being reactionary to problems and things happen. Like, and I know you're super business focused and everything you're saying, it just have different skill sets than a traditional trademark attorney. So what do you do for clients?
So
proactive.
I've actually built in questions into my intake system that ask them where are they planning to expand in terms of specific countries, because there's a difference between planning to expand into Europe and planning to have things manufactured in China. There's different things we have to take into consideration. Yeah. I think I have a really in-depth knowledge of like global supply chain because my cousin and my family have multiple factories all over the world. I've gone to visit these factories. I've literally been able to speak to the designers, speak to the actual artisans, the factory workers, see where people's IP is vulnerable at each and every step of that supply chain. Not just what you think of when, oh yeah, register your trademark with Customs and Border Patrol. I mean, the knowledge has to go deeper than that, especially for these global e-com brands that do ship globally, that get things manufactured, piecemealed all over the world. It's really, really important to write in the intake to be asking specific types of questions in terms of usage, manufacturing, which for some reason seems to be overlooked. And there's just different things that people need to do in terms of if you are selling, if you're advertising, if you're manufacturing or putting things together or getting designs from overseas, what type of NDAs are they using? What type of contracts? It's not just filing documents in the USPTO. There's other precautions and steps that need to be taken. So it's really a cohesive plan. I think it really starts during that intake process. Obviously, if you want to be that type of lawyer that is going above and beyond, you are not necessarily you cannot put a dollar penny amount on every extra question you ask your client. But in my experience, it is well worth it. And it's very hard to justify to do that as a lawyer. So I get why other lawyers don't. I just see it as a disservice to my clients if I wasn't going to go that extra step and do that, especially because I personally have that extra knowledge. So it would be a huge disservice to them. So you really have to have it in your mind. You're not going to get paid for every step you go above and beyond for your clients, but it is going to pay off because not only are you handling their, 2 trademarks in the US, you're going to handle their entire patent trademark portfolio in the US and abroad, be monitoring, enforcing for them. So it's going to pay off eventually.
I love that you're thinking like just broader and bigger to catch issues before they arise. And I think that is a lot to do with like your entrepreneurial mindset, because you own a business. So you see that side of things. And I think a lot of lawyers were just kind of taught to, I don't know, like do kind of what we're told, expect the work to kind of flow to us. But I think the point from here is like issue spot and do that extra step, which is funny, right? Because that's what law school taught us. Like law school taught us to look at the facts, look at the situation, and kind of spot issues, which I know a lot of in-house lawyers do because they're kind of in the business. I think this conversation probably is mostly for a lot of outside counsel. Like, don't just wait for a client to come to you with problems. There's so much you could be doing proactively.
So much.
I love what you said.
Every industry is going to have their own sets of vulnerabilities. And so it's just being able to make sure that on the onset, before things get filed with errors, before things get copied without filings in the system, before any of those very problematic, lengthy, difficult problems to solve occur, that you take care of them. And if you're not preventing things for your client, at least they know what they're up against. Of course, we all have clients that we still have to file stuff that we tell them is a low chance of success, but at least they are aware of what's going on. And I think it helps the attorney-client relationship too. It's a big complaint of clients I see, not necessarily mine or at my previous firm, but just across the board, that they feel they are encountered with too many unexpected scenarios. Very common in the law because there's infinite scenarios that can happen, but just having that open communication and being able to help them help guide them and advise them according to what you already know. At least, even if you're not able to bill for every second of that time, it's still well worth it. It goes so far in helping the attorney-client relationship.
We just got a comment. Someone mentioned business stage. When is the right quote unquote business brand to involve an IP lawyer? Would you say it depends on the volume of the generated revenue or
I would
profits
say
bracket?
the earlier the better, because, you know, one thing is, if every single client ever just came to us right at the start of their business and we were doing filings, we would probably be out of business, because we can actually charge you so much more to fix your problem than prevent it. So we have no incentive to tell you to come see us before you've launched your business. We would make a lot more money off you if we just get to solve your problems and have to send a bunch of cease and desists and injunctions for you. But if you want to do things the cheapest, fastest, smoothest way possible, you want to go see your IP lawyer about 1 year before you launch your business.
It's so true. It really is. Like, I kind of, it sounds like that's you definitely do this a lot too. You get pulled in to clean up the mess, or I get pulled in because a business is scaling and they're expanding and they're growing. So they have some trademarks, but now we're thinking about, and I was thinking about this today, like, with the way technologies, just everything is moving so fast, and there's all these new like legal tech tools, and the way that you and I started this, like, however many years ago, how we learned from our supervisors, that game is different. It's the takedown game, the online enforcement. It is so different than when we started, just because of the sheer volume and speed, that it's not cost effective anymore for like only lawyers to be doing takedowns, because there's so many. Now there's like software like Redpoints that I partnered with them, because I'm like, this is already disrupted. Like, let's use tech, and so I could focus on the strategy. But I think everyone has to like think about, how can I do this in a modern, proactive, efficient way? Because that's what's going to save you money, versus when like a lot of our clients come to us when they're scaling and growing, and now we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars cleaning up stuff that could have been not even an issue with a simple trademark filing or a copyright filing.
So there's so many tools out there as well. And if you go to a law firm, also, I want to throw this out there, more traditional law firms are really, really incentivized to be extremely inefficient and to not solve your problem. So people should be keeping all of that in mind. Yeah, with the billable hour, and even though I still bill hourly for a lot of things, but there's a difference between transparency levels. I'll call it that. In the billable hour at a traditional law firm, where you are basically handing them a blank check and there's not really another way to work with them. There's other lawyers that do have things like flat fees, so you know exactly what you're getting. And maybe you might need extra services that go over that get billed hourly. At least you're able to understand what's going on. So there are just different motivations for different types of lawyers and law firms, and that really needs to be taken into account, especially if you are, you're drop shipping on TikTok, and TikTok and Shopify, are now partnering. Does your lawyer at your traditional law firm even know how Shopify works? Have they ever gone into the Shopify website and seen how people place orders, and how you update inventory, how you upload pictures, where these pictures are coming from, what Shopify's DMCA policies are? So all of that, you really want to make sure. I always tell people the number one thing you should do when you look for a lawyer, not just IP, but all transactional work, make sure that they actually understand your business, how you make money. And then you want to make sure that they actually understand your business and your vulnerabilities when it comes to IP, when it comes to language in your contracts, all of that.
I think we're entering this new phase of the practice of law, where a lot of the stuff that we used to do is now going to be automated. And so it is a great opportunity for lawyers to learn skills, right? Like, you don't have to my job is not all practice law. Like, actually, it's a very small piece of my job is the traditional quote unquote practice of law. I am literally counseling, advising, strategizing, designing plans, like you said. And to do that, I need to understand NFTs. I need to understand emerging tech. I got to understand TikTok and these platforms that they're on. But I think if you position yourself, it doesn't matter where you are, if you're a big firm, small firm, in-house, learning those skills is going to get you so much farther and help you compete, especially as, bluntly, a lot of stuff will be automated. You can have those extra value adds
and I
to
think
still
another
work with
thing
clients.
that more IP lawyers I feel should do is offer more alternative services. Be networking with people at these platforms. Go figure out who is Shopify's in-house counsel, who is working at Meta, who's working at TikTok. We offer a lot of non-traditional services, getting before the changes came, but just helping people get verified, getting their accounts back, doing takedowns on the back end. So having strategic contacts sometimes, or being able to offer these alternative services to help people still protect their assets, because all social media and digital assets are very, very, very valuable to businesses. Offer complementary services that still help people, protect their IP assets. It's a really very necessary service for people.
Oh my God. I love that. I think it's just, we have to do it. So I want to ask you about your platform, like your social media platform and what you've been doing. Are you still on TikTok a lot? Like, tell us.
No, I feel like I've taken such a huge step back from social media, just trying to work out some other things in my businesses. We're just expanding, and that takes a lot of time to deal with a lot of new people, and also have a lot more. I'm at the point now in my business where I'm just taking on a lot more referral work, a lot of repeat work, and that obviously takes up a lot of time. And I'm still figuring out now where I want to go with my marketing, because the online space is so different now than it was a couple years ago. It's getting very saturated in the legal field. There's also so much negativity now. It's been so difficult to deal with. That's why I really have stepped back a bit. I feel like I haven't been on TikTok in months.
You talked about this, how I think it's because, I have not anywhere near the amount of, like, for any of you guys watching who you don't follow Anna, she has,
I don't even know. I know I'm like over 100K on everything, but I don't know.
Like, ridiculous. Now you blew up on TikTok, you were really active on LinkedIn. But anyway, so with that comes hate and negative comments and trolls. It's crazy. I think once you hit a certain number, it's like everyone I've spoken with who has that following, it's just it's par for the course. So I hope you've channeled that though and didn't give up. And
I've really decided that I want to just be a little bit more strategic about where I'm putting my energy. So that means I can continue to create as much content actually as I want. I just don't have to sit there and read hundreds of comments about myself for no reason, because it is not helping anything. If there are questions that are great video ideas, those can always be flagged for me. But I think once you reach a certain point, it just doesn't do you any good to sit there and ponder why user 5672 thinks this about how bad your voice is, So I think it's just really good to take a step back from being so personally involved. And that's kind of my way forward. I really like the platforms now that I'm smaller on, because it's kind of a more positive place. That's why, just touching on LinkedIn, I did this program with LinkedIn. It was called the LinkedIn Accelerator Program. I hope I'm saying that right now. And I was the only IP lawyer who was part of this program. And so I'm so glad I got to represent our field, because the theme was technology and innovation. So I feel like there should have been 10 IP lawyers talking about this. But it was really cool because LinkedIn kind of partnered with you. We basically got paid to post a certain amount of times on LinkedIn. And that was the deal that the program was. And we had to post about certain topics. We had to try out different posting formats. And it was, you know, in exchange, you know, LinkedIn paid you a little bit and they would promote some of your content and things like that. And the prompts were good. So we got to try out, you know, interacting with people in a new way. I thought it was such a great experience getting to share a little bit of IP with people. There's a shocking amount of people who've never heard of a trademark or copyright or patent, and just helping people learn the basics, I think, gets them curious about not just what to do to protect, but how to monetize your IP. At the end of the day, everyone wants to make money. And while it's so important just to simply protect everything so that, you know, I think you've called it like your insurance policy, people's insurance policy before, but there's also ways that people can get interested because you can show them how people monetize it, why it's so valuable, how it's actually a real asset. So you and I could sit here and talk about this for 5 hours plus, but other people, you know, showing them little bits and pieces of that to get them curious and interested in IP was so cool to do on a platform like LinkedIn. Yeah, it was awesome. And I think I learned a lot about what people respond to. People really like pop culture references, which you do a ton of. You're so awesome at that. I live under a rock. I like have no idea what any of the Kardashians are doing at the moment. I'm like so out of the loop.
I think like as case examples to show you like here's one of the most successful humans on the planet. She is fine. She's already got her portfolio set up for her kids. Like, here's what you could be doing. And it's funny, clients come in, they're like, oh, I saw she did it.
It's so great to get people thinking about how other people have made money and how they can replicate it, because that's, gets them really interested. And it's hard to do that in such a boring field of law. Like, we love it, but not everyone loves it. So.
I mean, make it fun. Fun. Well, Anna, okay, so you are on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. What is the best place for people
I'm
to
really available anywhere. Like every single message and DM will get answered unless it's weird. I have to stop saying that because I don't answer the weird ones, but you can also email me. My email is like all over my IG handle and LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. So if you want to find me, you can find me.
Oh my gosh. Well, you are a doll. I love watching you continue to grow. It's been so awesome to, you know, we haven't yet to meet in person, but like.
We have to meet up in Florida or New York very soon, I feel like.
Yeah. Awesome. Out there soon. I'll message you. But thank you so much. And if you don't already follow Anna, you have to. And if you are new to Legal Limelight, we're here every Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Instagram. I'm at the Trademark Attorney, and we appreciate you.
Bye. So great to catch up.
So good to catch up.
Talk soon. Bye.
Congrats, girl. You're killing it.